see the light.
Yeah.
Okay. I think we're live. We might not be live. Who knows? It doesn't matter. Welcome to Your List Sucks Round 2. The show actually went off pretty well last week, so they decided to give me another run. I may end up like a sitcom on CBS, cut too soon, but right now it's going to be on here. So enjoy the show. I've got an insane group of panel with me. Some young, a little bit more my age, but these lists are insane. You're going to be like me in the comments and flip out on them, but that's the whole point of the show because guess what? These guys took the concept of my show of Your List Sucks and put it into personal top 10 lists, and they actually got lists that actually suck, and I'll tell you about them today. Yes, it's Disney live action, Aladdin coming out soon, so we're pretty much going to just do it for there. I'm going to first go to the king, Kaleb Koho, first time on the show. You were actually supposed to be on last week's episode, but we all know this is where your heart resides in live action Disney. Are you excited to piss everybody else off on this channel with your list?
Oh, 100%. If I had a choice between the two, I mean, my list for 2010's animation was pretty tame. And for a show called Your List Sucks, then I need to be on the one where I'm going to make the most controversy and make the sucky lists. But yeah, I can't wait to share my lists and my opinions. And the fact that I'm on here with two other guys who also have a lot of takes is going to be a lot of fun.
Yes. Again, I get their top 10 before they reveal it, and it really I have to be really calm in the chat when I text back and forth, be like, oh, nice, okay, but I'm really dying on the inside. Next, go to Ryan, the king of the hot takes, the guy that refuses to see most Disney live-action movies. Some people said I shouldn't have you on the show for that fact, but that made it more of a reason to bring you on. So, Ryan, how are you feeling tonight? And are you ready to make the other two cry with your list?
Yes, indeed, I am. Thank you for having me on the show. This ought to be a lot of fun. A lot of hot takes are going to be thrown every which way, but I'm looking forward to this. I know that some people saying, why is this guy even on any of these shows? He has no business being on these things, but I don't care because it's not my call. It's the host's call on what shows I get to be on, so I will leave it up to them. But other than that, let's just roll right into this thing and have some fun.
All right. And the biggest heel in the community, the pissant to my normal day life, Caleb Boatman, my co-runner of Warzone with Brian Michaels. Are you ready to piss everybody off with your list? Or do you think you have the correct top 10 list and these two are the ones that are incorrect?
Here's the thing. I think, according to my normal, brand of taste that I've known for in this community, I don't think this list really falls into that because I think this is a topic that really, it tends to be more about what you grew up with. I think Ryan, not going to like my list. Koho might be okay with my list. Cody's going to hate it. But he hates everything I do. But I think Koho might be okay. I think Koho is going to be the only one that doesn't break out into trying to kill me over this list. But we'll see. We'll see.
Well, as long as you don't have the third man on your top 10, we'll be okay.
Okay. So now back to this. So how the show's going to work. The first round, everybody's just going to mention their bottom 3, 10, 10, 9, 8. Then the next one, they will pretty much just go one apiece kind of up their 3. So it will go 7, 6, 5. They'll talk about it. Well, we'll actually go to 4 because we're going to break it apart at the end. You'll learn how the show goes as it goes. But first, I'm going to start with Kaleb Koho. Please reveal to the public your bottom 3 and tell us a little bit why these made your list, and also pause in case somebody else has it on their list or we can talk about it later.
Cool. Okay, so my number 10 is Pirates of the Caribbean at World's End.
Of course.
My number 9 is Tron Legacy. And my number 8 is The Chronicles of Narnia, The Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe.
Okay, so does anybody have Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe or Tron Legacy higher up on their list than the bottom 3?
Yes.
Okay, so please share to us while at World's End the shittiest pirate ending trilogy that ruined what it set off and spun off into what it is now. Tell us why that deserves a top 10 placement over some of the key notable omissions off your list, but we'll talk about that near the end.
Okay, so for me, the Pirates of the Caribbean trilogy as a whole, the three of them are my favorite trilogy of all time. The third one is the weakest one, but I think it's a good film, if not a really good film. I think, there's parts where it gets lengthy, parts where it could be cut in places, but the overall story, the finality of Jack Sparrow and Davy Jones' story arc is satisfying. It is a good finale. The Battle of the Maelstrom, Beckett, the world opening up with the Pirate Lords. I love all of it.
Just confused. Lengthy is not a word I would describe for this movie. A flippin' marathon to survive this movie. This thing is like almost 3 hours long.
It is.
And by the time when the boats start spinning in that cool circle, half the audience is asleep or have left the room because this movie is still going on.
However,
how you consider this top 10 is insulting to the general public.
I will say before the Maelstrom, there's a lot of really good character arc finality that comes with it. This movie is the last one in my mind. It wraps up everything, and all the character work that they do to wrap up Will's arc with Jack, to wrap up Elizabeth, to like make Elizabeth's story come to fruition with Bootstrap and Barbossa and everyone. Everyone has a lot that they need to do before we get there, and I think they do it all well.
I think you should just record a video of summarizing the movie, and we'll watch that instead of the movie because it'll be shorter. But yeah, your bottom three, I have some real issues with it, but I can't talk about two because they're higher on somebody else's list. We're going to go Ryan next. Explain your bottom three, and if anybody has one, please says, oh, I have that. We'll talk about it later.
Alrighty, so with me, I have at number 10, I have The Jungle Book, the 2016 live-action remake that Jon Favreau did.
I have that higher.
Oh, wow. All right. And then at, number 9, I have Angels in the Outfield. And at number 8, I have a film that apparently some of the Schmodown players don't remember enough, and that would be Remember the Titans.
I also have that higher.
Okay, so explain to us while Angels in the Outfield made your list, and what you find in this movie, and why it made your list over some omissions without telling what's not on your list. But just explain why that movie stands out to you.
Sure. Angels in the Outfield specifically, it stands out to me because it's one of the films or Disney live action films I grew up watching. I like the message that it has in the film about, the whole angel thing, having hope. Look, things may look bleak now, but things may get better in the future. Plus the performances of Danny Glover and Christopher Lloyd and Tony Danza and a very, 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 very young Joseph Gordon-Levitt. Good stuff, really good performances, good film. It's a hopeful, positive, happy-go-lucky type Disney film that I think a lot of audiences remember from their childhood, and some audiences, if they've never heard of it or haven't discovered it yet, strongly recommend that you give it a watch because it is a good family film. And with some good comedy, too, by some other up-and-coming actors that are also featured in the film, like Neil McDonough and Adrian Brody, Matthew McConaughey. A whole bunch of up-and-coming stars at that time are in this movie, so you got your venerable who's who in this one.
Well, in the show of Your List Sucks, Ryan gains a point because Angels in the Outfield would have made my list. I think it's fantastic. No shocker that a baseball movie would make my list. But it's actually really funny, really enjoyable. I'm glad you had it the 9th spot because if it was any higher, I would be questioning everything about you. Moving on to the heel of the community, Boatman. Please tell us your bottom 3. And I told you, no black and white movies. So remember that.
Okay. My number 10, my number 9, 10, and 8, no black and white movies. My number 10 is Enchanted. Really fun. Number 9 is Freaky Friday, the 2003 version with Jamie Lee Curtis and Lindsay Lohan.
Oh.
And my number 8 is Holes with Shia LaBeouf.
Okay, does anybody have Enchanted, Freaky Friday?
I have Enchanted higher.
Okay, anybody have Freaky Friday or Holes? One, no, you could have had. The other, my God. Are you serious right now, Boatman?
Which one?
I let you on my show. I give you the pass. And you walk in with Lindsay Lohan in Freaky Friday?
Jamie Lee Curtis is hilarious in that movie. She's hilarious. This is legitimately might be Disney's funniest movie.
Did those words just come out of your mouth?
Wow. It's hilarious. It is very funny.
So your viewpoint, your justification was Have you seen Jamie Lee Curtis in this movie? She's great. You didn't talk about the other counterpart in the movie,
Lindsay
and that's
Lohan's
that
fine. She's
cardboard
not
cutout.
bad. She
Shut
was
your
a
mouth.
good actress
Shut your mouth.
before she went
Shut
crazy.
your mouth. Yeah. Herbie was amazing.
Yeah,
Is that on your list later?
That's when she went crazy.
Is that your
Herbie
movie
fully
next?
loaded.
Or
No.
Confessions of a Teenage Drama? You're what's wrong with
Confessions
this
of a
society.
Teenage Drama Queen was okay.
You're a psychopath. This is terrible. I really wish I would have let you run into somebody else and swap places, because maybe we would have got a great list. Please, I'm done with talking. I'm not even going to consider talking about Freaky Friday anymore. I will let you talk about Holes, because that is the one redeeming quality of your bottom three. So please tell me why Holes made your list.
Holes is
Shia
like
LaBeouf.
Holes is like a really fun, like 80s adventure movie. I think it's a lot of fun. All the kids are like really good, but the people who steal the show for me are Timberlake Nelson, John Voight, and Sigourney Weaver. Those people are given really fun, funny, kind of over-the-top villain performances, and they're great.
Yes, I will agree. My favorite line from that movie is when the warden is driving in, and he's like, "Who is that?" Well, it ain't the Girl Scout selling cookies, that's for sure. Though they are over the top villains. I think Shia LaBeouf and the entire story is actually really good of this Disney live action. It's very underrated. I've even talked to some people in the community that think it was released straight to DVD, which is really sad, or VHS maybe even back then. That's really upsetting and sad, because this movie deserves more attention. I think it was on Netflix for a while in the States. So
I think it's still on Netflix.
So check it out. I think Holes is really so. You let me down tremendously with Freaky Friday, but you kind of redeemed yourself a little bit.
I mean,
with
it was
Holes.
lower than Holes.
Okay.
So.
Yeah. So it should have been the bottom. You've missed some things on there, and you put Freaky Friday. Okay. And the funniest Disney movie. That is something you will never live down in this community.
Funniest Disney live action movie. Actually, no, I forget. My number.
Okay,
my number
we're done.
6 is the funniest.
We're done. Okay, so Koho. We're gonna start with the next one. So we're gonna start with 6, and then 7, and we're gonna work our way up. So just mention it if somebody has it higher, then pause. But if they don't, you can talk about it. And if it was skipped earlier, the person that had it can talk about it. Okay. So tell us what your number 7 is.
So 7 was a slight saving of it. Enchanted is my 7. Yeah. So me and Boatman are both on the same page when it comes to loving this movie. It totally takes the Disney princess story and flips it kind of on its head and puts it in a weird, wacky, fun new setting. Patrick Dempsey, James Marsden, and Amy Adams are all phenomenal in this movie. James Marsden, this might be my favorite performance of his. Maybe. He's so funny. And you also get Timothy Spall and Susan and a bunch of it's a weirdly stacked cast for a mid-2000s live action Disney movie, but it's really fun all the way around.
I find this movie incredibly annoying, to be honest. I guess maybe I appreciate it when it's animated most of the time, but when it comes to live action, the annoyance just is there. But I think it fits for you. Boatman, please tell me why Enchanted is worse than Freaky Friday, and explain why it made your list.
Well, worse than Freaky Friday. To me, Enchanted goes into just the third act goes into kind of just the generic 2000s romantic comedy type thing. And I don't love Patrick Dempsey in it. He's fine. But Amy Adams and James Marsden and all the Disney references are what make this movie. It is like the Disney fans' version of Deadpool. I think it's kind of the self-aware type humor. It's got that. It's for Disney fans, and it's got that kind of making fun of Disney. And I really like it when Disney makes fun of Disney.
Yeah. So you explained the third act of Enchanted. Can you explain to me what happens in the third act of Freaky Friday? No, I don't really care. We'll move along. Can you tell us your number 6, Koho?
My number 6 is the only movie on my top 10 made before the year 2000, and that is Cool Runnings. Cool Runnings is so funny. It is probably one of my favorite. It's very high on my list in proportion to the rest is things I grew up with. This is one I found later and just fell in love with. John Candy is pitch perfect. His character is actually super sad when you look at it, and his arc is so John Candy gives such a great like he had a balanced performance all the way through. And just one for the rhythm, one for the rhyme. Kiss the egg. All the jokes are just so great. I love
kiss my egg? Kiss my egg?
What's your name? Yul Brenner.
This is something I have to give you a lot of credit with. Of all the people on this list, I expected one person to bring it up, and that would be Ryan, probably. But I did not expect you, co-host, all people, to bring up Cool Runnings.
Yeah.
Cool Runnings is a very underrated comedy, especially of a true story of the Jamaican bobsled team. And they do a really good job, and that just shows like John Candy does an amazing job in this performance. So everybody so far has earned a brownie point with me, and also let me down in so many ways on this episode. So feels like a family reunion all over again. All right, so please tell us your next one, Coho, and why it makes your list.
My number 5 is one of those aforementioned ones I grew up with that I love. That's National Treasure.
Anybody else got National Treasure?
No, sir.
Ooh, okay.
Ouch. National Treasure is like a really good movie, like in the modern day. Like I've said this a million times. I'm a massive history nerd. So when they were like, we're doing an adventure movie about treasure hunting and U.S. American history is kind of involved, I kind of was like, that's the perfect movie for me. Nicolas Cage is pretty good. Justin Bartha, I think, is hilarious in this movie.
Riley, yeah.
I'm tired. I'm hungry. This car smells weird. I love all the comedic beats. The map, it's ridiculous. It is ridiculous. A map on the back of the Declaration of Independence is ridiculous. But taking all dramatic convention out of it, it is so fun. It's a blast.
Well, I think this is an interesting pick because this one also made my list. So you did a good job again on this one. National Treasure is an adventure movie. All adventure movies, including Indiana Jones, makes zero sense. They should never have worked. They don't just happen by happenstance. And one guy, especially Nick Cage or Harrison Ford, stumbles upon and is amazing at this stuff. So the fact that they pulled it off, and I even think the second one is pretty good. I don't think it's probably top 10, but I think the second one is really good. It's an adventure movie, and I haven't found a real issue with your choice yet. And then give us your final one of this round.
And here's where you take issue. My number 4 is the 2017 remake of Beauty and the Beast. I love Beauty and the Beast, but the animated one. I think no one else has this. I love the original Beauty and the Beast. It is my favorite Disney movie is the animated Beauty and the Beast. I thought the live action was originally when I saw it, I liked it more. I've since gone back and realized that is a stupid take to have. But the live action one, the performances are all really good. I love the new music. Like Evermore is a phenomenal song. It should have not nominated, should have won Best Original Song. It is so good. I think Kevin Kline's really good as Maurice. I think Luke Evans is phenomenal as Gaston. And I think the cast all the way around is like really good. And the production design, the costumes, like all the technical parts of the movie are really great and really cool to see like in live action. So I put it pretty high.
Cut him off.
Okay. Listen. I don't have a problem with it maybe making your list. The problem is when you do a Disney live action movie, and the whole reason is Disney wanted to be able to buy Fox, so they know they had to put out one of their properties and put it in the thing. My thing is, for one that was already mentioned, it will be talked about in a second, but like Jungle Book, for example. Jungle Book, I think, enhanced the story, changed it up, and like gave us something that didn't know. Yes. Beauty and the Beast was like almost shot for shot made. They added, you're done. You're in the corner. You're in timeout. I understand they added stuff. They changed a little bit about it, but at the end of the day, you have to compare it to Beauty and the Beast, and it falls insanely short of that benchmark. And that's why when I watch it, if you pop in, there's 2 versions of that movie now. You have a choice. You can watch a hour and 30-minute, perfectly shot, animated Beauty and the Beast, or you can pop in a bloated 2-hour shell of a movie and put it in. And I don't understand how it can rank 4th out of all the Disney live actions. You haven't even mentioned some yet. I'm getting panicky, and you're thinking it's that high. That's insane, and your list sucks. You have literally met my quota. Good day, sir. We're moving to Ryan. Ryan, please tell me, please redeem this quality. I need your 7.
Oh, 7. Okay. Okay. A few of these movies are going to tug at your heartstrings. The first one being with number 7. Number 7, I have down as the Muppet Christmas Carol.
Anybody else?
That is.
No.
Nope. Okay.
Missed my list.
Wow. Okay. But yeah, Muppet Christmas Carol, all-time classic, all-time great film. All the performances are great. The songs are great. The emotions that you feel in it are great. It tugs at your heartstrings almost every step of the way. Just if you never seen it, don't like it, I don't know what you're doing here. So that's my number 7.
Yeah, I will just make it a note. I think this is very good. I don't know if I would include it on the list just because of the time frame. I can't go watch it all the time, but I don't disagree with you. It is still my favorite version of the Christmas Carol.
Oh,
I think the acting performances and the overall fun and enjoyment. I love it. I love it a lot. So I don't hate it. I think it probably should have been in your bottom half. But again, it's your personal list. Tell us what your number 6 is.
sure. That's fair. I can see that. Coming at number 6, I have another film that's going to tug at your heartstrings. I think it's an underrated film that not a lot of people may have seen, not a lot of people care for, but that's all right. That would be Tuck Everlasting with Alexis Bledel, Joshua Jackson, Sissy Spacek, William Hurt, Sir Ben Kingsley. Definitely, I just rewatched this film. It hits me every single time. The ending gets me every single time. Put you to tears. It's so good, so well acted. Very smooth, very quick film. It goes by like that. It's only an hour, like 25 minutes long. It's really quick, but it's so good. You get a lot out of it. There's some good, just a few like life lessons to be thrown in there for good measure. And I think all the performances are great. The score of this movie is fantastic. Even the narration by the 80s legend known as Elizabeth Shue is wonderful, that she adds that little layer to the film. So Tuck Everlasting is my number 6.
Ooh. This is where we have to differ. I don't enjoy this movie at all. I've seen it once. I never had any idea to want to go back. Yeah. We'll see. We'll see at the end of the day if your list, you're still on that borderline of sucks and not sucks. So Tuck Everlasting's an interesting choice. But again, it's a personal list. Please tell us what your other one is, your next one, and I think somebody else had it on theirs, so you can discuss that.
Alrighty. Coming in at number 5 would be The Chronicles of Narnia, The Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe, the first installment of that franchise that Disney remade or tried to put together. I rewatched it around the holiday season. I think to a certain extent it still holds up. I think it's still good. It's a great fantasy movie. The young cast at the time is really, really good. I thought Mr. Tumnus, played by James McAvoy, adds a nice touch to the film. And once again, the score of this film is just so incredibly well done. I enjoy listening to it. I enjoy hearing it every time the movie's on. Great. There's a bit of a powerful message within the film itself, and it's based off the best-selling novels by C.S. Lewis, so that kind of goes without saying. But it's a good film. I still enjoy it. So The Chronicles of Narnia, The Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe of that franchise made my number 5.
All right, Koho, please tell me why you agree with him.
Yeah. Yeah, see, I was never a Lord of the Rings book kid. I was always a Narnia kid. Like, those are the two, fantasy franchises, book-wise, that you kind of have to read growing up, and I was always more attracted to Narnia. And when the movies came out, I was super excited. I saw Lion, the Witch, Wardrobe. I think it's a great adaptation of that first book. Sure, there's things that are moved around and not 100%, but Tilda Swinton as the White Witch is brilliant.
She's great.
She's great. I think Liam Neeson as Aslan is really great casting too. Just to see that whole story come to life that way was really mad and great. And I mean, each installment after is not as good. I like Caspian, but Don Treader's not Disney and real shit. But yeah.
Yeah, so this is where I have to disagree with both of you. What a shocker, it's coming. I remember having to read this book, then having to go to a field trip and watch this movie, and gosh, I wish I would have just skipped school. I don't think this movie is good at all. I think I think the message is good in it overall. I like C.S. Lewis, but over the whole, it's the problem with, I think, what Disney was just struggling with in those mid years of the 2000s. They couldn't throw an animated movie out correctly. Almost, they couldn't throw a live action for me. It was just a lot of going with what everybody else, and they missed their blueprint. They didn't know what to do, and this is one of those products of it, where everything was rising and needing to make runs of movies and get trilogies. They had a great thing, and I think they honestly should move it to Disney Plus. I think C.S. Lewis's Narnia collection could be a great TV series. But I think movies doesn't give enough justice, and I think it misses on a lot of levels. But that's maybe my age. I don't know, but it just doesn't hit for me. But we'll go to your next one, Ryan. I think you got one. You got one more. So yeah.
Yes, we are at number 4, and my number 4 pick would be, of all the films films and documentaries I've seen featured in IMAX 3D format, the best one I saw in IMAX 3D would be Tron Legacy. Is my number 4. I put this there because it is by far and away the best IMAX 3D experience I've ever had in a theater. It is an adventure film. It's wild. It's crazy. It takes you into just a completely different world and a realm that we haven't seen, at least in this kind of way, before. Was it Jeff Bridges? You're messing with my Zen thing, man. I mean, that funny line, some other liners in there, and then the club scene with Michael Sheen, and you got D-Rez from Daft Punk playing during that little fight sequence in the club with the kid and Olivia Wilde's character Cora. I mean, it's just crazy fun adventure. And yeah, does it miss a few beats? Yes. Couldn't have been better in some way, shape, or forms? Yes. But overall, I still enjoy it. It puts a smile on my face. Everything in this movie, from the soundtrack to the score to Jeff Bridges coming back to Michael Sheen's cameo as the kind of underling boss, like working for Clue and pulling some strings. I enjoy it. It's fun. The disc battles, the light cycle battles, all of it is just so cool. Makes you feel like a kid again. So Tron Legacy is my number 4, and I'm proud to say it's one of my definitely must-have own films on Blu-ray. What say you, boys?
Oh gosh, but I'll let Koho, because if I get another fandom question of this movie, I'm gonna flip out. So go ahead, Caleb. I'm surprised this isn't higher on your list, but please tell me why.
I will address that. The reason why Tron Legacy is lower is because, yes, there are a lot of definite problems, and one of the glaring problems is Garrett Hedlund. And I will say he's from Roseau, Minnesota. Nothing good comes from Roseau, Minnesota, and that applies to this movie with his performance. He's not great. It's the infancy of de-aging technology, so it looks very uncanny valley with Jeff Bridges' Clue. But I think Jeff Bridges' performance as Kevin Flynn is actually really underrated. The entire score by Daft Punk I would put on my top 10 scores of the decade. It's so different.
Yes.
It's so cool to listen to. The visual effects are really great. The way that the lights and everything go, and my favorite subplot, the entire movie, Tron subplot, where Tron is supposedly dead, gone to res, and he has that turn where he's actually the right hand man of Clue, and then has that Darth Vader switch moment where he is like, I fight for the users, I'm back, everything like that. It's great.
I fight for the users.
I think it's great.
Okay, question.
I think cool.
Question. The original Tron is a movie that exists and it is distributed by Disney. Why did this one rank higher than Tron? Because you both, I mean, it might come up later on your list if you do have it, but you can share if it's not why Legacy is better than the original Tron.
You want to take that one, Koho, first?
Yeah, I'll take it first. The reason why the first Tron doesn't rate so high for me is because it's very outdated. The first act of that movie is pretty great, like with the light cycles and like when he first gets into the grid, and the rest of the movie completely falls off. Like the story of the first Tron's not there, and the visual effects at the time were groundbreaking, but they really don't hold up. It's just a bunch of lines. So when you look at this, it takes the visual effects, the world, that story, and improves upon it with a richer story, richer visual effects.
The story wasn't great.
The story of what? Tron Legacy?
Yeah.
No, the story of Tron Legacy is pitch perfect. It's about a totalitarian government taking over.
But you're saying it wasn't executed properly, but the first Tron's. So if you took the visual effects from Legacy and threw it into Tron, it would be the perfect movie?
If you took some of the elements of the story from Tron Legacy and the visual effects and the score and put it into the first Tron, that's a perfect movie.
Okay.
Maybe.
I do want to ask Boatman's. I haven't had Boatman ask. Both movies just got brought up, Tron Legacy and Narnia. These two had it on their list. You did not. Why did these two movies miss your top 10? And just see if you want to touch on that real quick.
Yeah. First I'll start off with the one that actually had like a chance in making my top 10, and that was Narnia. Like it's solid. Like think it's a bad movie like Cody, but I also don't think it's like top tier. Like it's a fun little fantasy movie. I don't think it's great, but I like Tilda Swinton a lot in that movie. I like McAvoy. It's a nice fun fantasy, but like it's not like amazing to me. I think Cody kind of hit the nail on the head because it's Disney trying to do Lord of the Rings and Harry Potter. It's them trying to do their version of that, and I don't think they mess it up too badly. Like, I get if people do, but I don't think it's that bad. I think it's fun. I think it's kind of pretty okay. Legacy, I would consider it a guilty pleasure of mine. I don't think it's really a good movie. I think it's a fun movie. I like the visuals. I think Koho just kind of gave it away. It's every kind of dystopian future where the hero has to come in and he's the chosen one and ooh, look at me, we gotta go free and woo, like it's every kind of dystopian future movie ever. But it's fun. I like the effects. I like Daft Punk.
Yeah, so before we get to Boatman's, I'm just going to shout out to some people in chat. Jonathan Peck's here, Cameron Holtzman, Matt Kearns is here, Multiplex Entertainment, which I'm pretty sure is Kaleb Koho. He's in there. Cain McMillan has showed up, so guys, please appreciate it. Cool Guy was here. Jonathan Peck, you want to know what I felt about your list moving forward. Your list also sucks, and I'm glad you put it in the chat for me to ridicule as well. Jungle Book as the first spot is an insult to everything. But
Whoa.
We're going to go to Boatman. Boatman, tell me what your number 7 is.
My number 7 is one Ryan mentioned earlier. It's Jon Favreau's Jungle Book. I think this really improves, maybe not improves, but it takes a different direction from the original animated version, which, even though I do really enjoy it, it's kind of loosely paced. It's not a very like tightly paced movie, and I don't think it needed to be, but it's very much just, here's this scene. Okay, now here's this scene. They don't really like tie into each other. It's just kind of a bunch of things that happen. Whereas this movie, there's more of like okay, we need to go here in order to escape this. There's more, the stakes are higher. You know, I really love Idris Elba. No, yeah, Idris Elba is Shere Khan. Ben Kingsley's great as Bagheera. I get people having problems with Walken as King Louis. I think he's okay.
He was fine.
I loved it. I
thought he was fine. No one gave a bad performance in this movie at all.
Yeah. The only one that felt a little out of place to me was Scarlett Johansson, but she wasn't bad. But they definitely could have done more with Ka. Yeah. But overall, I think it's a really good. It's probably my favorite of the Disney remake live action ones. So yeah. I think because it's the only one that makes a really different movie for me.
Yeah, Ryan, touch on why it just made your list. It was just 10, but explain why you like the movie.
No, yeah, I mean the Jungle Book made 10 because it's more recent, than some of the other films that are on my list personally. But I also it is a really good film. It definitely enhances the story. It's the only Disney live action remake that's actually good, worth watching, and has great quality acting, visual effects, direction by Jon Favreau. Who'd have thunk the guy who was in Swingers can make a live action remake of one of the best, to me anyway, one of my favorite Disney animated films of all time, The Jungle Book, and make it like this with a young actor. Just took him and put him in this movie as Mowgli. The kid as Mowgli was incredible. Like, I literally thought the original animated film was coming to life before my very eyes. So that's why I made my list. The only reason it's at 10 is because it's more recent. It may move up my list as the years go on and I get to marinate on it more and watch it more. But the only reason it's at 10 is because it's most recent. And look forward to seeing what Jon Favreau does with his next project, The Lion King, going forward. So we'll see what happens.
We're not talking about that. That's not what this show's about. But here's I think touch on Jungle Book real quick. I think it did a really good job because Jungle Book doesn't the cartoon's not big on story. Yeah. It's fun character pieces. It's you bounce around, you see a lot, but you don't see character development. I think they added that to this, and that's the thing. I think it improved on the story of what the original was telling because they had more runtime, so they gave something more to it. That's where I think Beauty and the Beast fails on that. and that's why I think Jungle Book's higher. But it would have been in the same spot for you guys. I think 7, 8, 9, 10 would have been a perfect range, probably if I would have ranked them and where I would have put it. So I have no problem with that on your guys' list. Come on, Boatman, give us your next one.
All right, my number 6. I think Koho is the only one who's going to be happy with this, and I'm guessing it's higher on his list. It is the 2005 superhero classic Sky High. Kurt Russell, Kelly Preston.
That is higher on my list. That is higher on my list.
I knew it.
Yep. And I will save my thoughts for later.
I don't even care about this one, Cody. You can feel how you feel.
I will eject you from this call. Okay, your next one, please.
Yes.
And please, if I thought Freaky Friday was bad, this just is about to get a whole lot worse.
What?
Go ahead.
What is it though?
Go ahead.
Number 5. This is a good movie. 2011's The Muppets. It's a really
good pick. It's a good pick.
Oh,
It's a good pick.
Oh my!
It's a really clever.
Proceed. You
good
ruined
pick.
another good show. Go ahead and tell me why The Muppets is 5th overall on your list.
Because it's a really clever. You take the classic characters and you basically put them back and you kind of make it a more emotional thing. Because if you remember, the Muppets hadn't really been around for a while, except for some like crappy TV movies. So bringing them back and taking the premise that the Muppets aren't popular anymore and making that like part of the story, that really works for me. And also, I just think all the comedy's really clever. I think Jason Segel doesn't get enough credit for being a good writer. He wrote the screenplay. It's a really clever. The songs are all incredibly catchy. Amy Adams is great, but all the Muppets just being the Muppets, perfect. Like it's a good movie. My only it probably would have been higher if it wasn't for the plot, which I will admit is kind of basic. It's every kind of we gotta raise money to get the band back together or whatever. But they kind of make fun of that. They make fun of the plot. So
okay, I'm over this. Can we just talk about it? The world doesn't want the Muppets anymore. It's been proven. The box office has proven it. ABC has proven it numerous times.
The Muppets make money.
Shut your mouth.
No, they don't.
Shut.
The Muppets 2011 made money.
Okay, guess what? A hobo on the street makes money too. Doesn't mean it's profitable and can afford another sequel of it, okay? The problem is the Muppets is boring, generic, and I love where you get there. The characters are fun and they do this, but the plot, pretty boring, pretty generic. Yeah, exactly. That's the problem with the Muppets movies. That's how they are. I don't even think this should even be mentioned. The sad thing is you don't have Christmas Carol. You have Muppets 2011 over it is insane to me. You're disrespectful. You're rude. This is why you're the biggest heel in this community. I need you to go on before I just kick you off this call.
Okay. My number 4, hopefully I can get Cody's trust back a little bit because sports, and I know Cody likes those. I hope he likes this movie. It's Remember the Titans. It's really great.
Oh, yeah? Feel good.
Okay, thank you.
Oh, yeah? Oh,
Feel good.
You should have been a little higher, but I am not angry at all. Perfect. This is a perfect placement. This is the one that I think it's insane. You'll let you talk in a second, but Denzel Washington is my favorite actor, and he's the perfect person for this role. Go ahead. I know Ryan and Caleb both had it on there, and Koho, you will need some explaining to do why this movie did not.
I will. Trust me.
Yeah. Here's the thing. I don't like sports movies. I get why people do. I'm usually not a big fan of them. This one hits all the right levels, buttons, for whatever you want to say. I like this movie so much. All the characters are really great. They all have really fun personalities. Rev and Julius and Jerry and Gary. Sorry, Gary Bertier. He calls him Jerry. We got Dean Martin and Jerry Lewis. That's a great bit. Who's your daddy, Gary? That's great. That's a great bit. Denzel, yeah, he's perfect in it. All the characters are great. And I think, the obvious, I mean, it's a really good, story about the racism in the 60s, even though it is Disney-fied, so, it doesn't go very harsh with it. But, I think it still works, and I think it's still, like, a really good, fun kind of football movie with the good social commentary in there. I think it's really great. Yeah.
I 100% agree. Ryan?
Yeah, I mean, I don't have too much more to add to that. It's a really good movie with a great message. And Denzel Washington, Will Patton, a very, 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 very young, before she was on Save the Cheerleader, Save the World, Hannah Panettiere is thrown in there. You got a bunch of other up-and-coming actors in this movie. So it's got some good levity moments in the film, as you pointed out, Boatman. So it's a good film, great message, great actors, great cast. So if you haven't seen it, definitely check it out. So yeah, it's one of the better Disney live action films we probably ever had.
Also, great soundtrack. Great soundtrack.
Oh,
Yes,
100%
yes.
great soundtrack. I will touch on it before I literally stone Kaleb Koho live on screen. I think this movie's great. I always pretty much use the football's fun, isn't it? Oh, it was not fun anymore? It's pretty much every time I call Koho out and he starts backtracking. Oh, it was Fandom. Running Fandom was fun, but it's not fun anymore. That's basically how I run it all the time. I think even the little sides, yes, you definitely I think another studio could have picked this movie up and probably touched on the racism a little harder,
a little deeper.
But I think they still share some messages that it actually shows kids, this movie about racism and like the banana toss. Like, that's just, I think Denzel's, favorite thing. Again, a guy pretty much against the wall and just doing a great job. This movie is one of the most quotable movies of all time. That Gettysburg scene is awesome in that movie where they're fighting the same war that we're fighting today. It's just, it stands a lot. It's probably my favorite football movie, to be honest, just because I grew up on it. So I will go to Koho, and please explain to me, while one, if you've never seen it, disrespectful. Two, tell me why you hate Denzel Washington.
You just said my answer. I've never seen Remember the Titans. I've been meaning to, but yeah, I didn't get a chance to see it before I start making the list. So, yeah.
Okay. Ouch. That's interesting. Okay. So, did we just get to our final one before the top three? Yes.
Yeah, everyone is up to the top three.
So, I kind of want something just real quick. Caleb, Ryan, and Caleb, just go one at a time. If you have something that you are surprised that the other person had on their list and you just don't understand it. So whoever wants to start, that's fine.
I can start. I'll start with Ryan and fucking Muppets. Why do you both have fucking Muppets? The Muppets are not good, guys. There's never been any good Muppet anything.
I got 5 generations of fans outside that door.
And they're all dumb.
Wait, Christmas Carol is brilliant.
Tell that
Christmas
to Zach.
Carol is brilliant.
No. Christmas Carol, the story is brilliant. All you did was put a Muppets template on it. It's boring, and it's the same story over and over.
Can we kick him off this call,
Literally,
Cody?
there's never been a good Muppet story ever.
Okay, you said your piece. Ryan, do you have anything to gripe at these two about?
As far as some of the stuff that's on their list?
Yeah.
Yeah. Why are any of the sequels to Pirates on this list? That's terrible. That's garbage. It's garbage. There are no sequels, you numbskulls. There are no Pirates. There are no sequels at all. They never happened. They never happened. Disney never made them. They never put them out. No one's ever seen or even heard of a sequel that ever came out for this franchise. I don't even know why it's on there, honestly. And by the way, Boatman, Freaky Friday, look, I enjoyed the film growing up, but man, there's no chance in that it would make anyone's top 10 list. So I don't know why Freaky Friday is on there. Granted, Lindsay Lohan gave one of her better performances before she went cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs, but still, I digress. What is it? Cool Runnings? Not a bad pick. I don't know if it's top 10 quality though, Sonny Boy, but other than that, some interesting lists. But the one that fries me the most is any of the sequels to a franchise that doesn't even exist, and that would be Pirates sequels. That's just dumb. Anyway, moving on.
And Boatman.
I honestly haven't had as much of a problem with Ryan's list as I thought I would, which really surprises me. Koho. Beauty and the Beast.
Yeah.
What is wrong with you, Koho?
I like it. I like it.
On your head as a child, Koho?
Nothing beats the original.
No, but I think you were because you put Freaky Friday on your.
I put it lower though. I knew that one.
It's on your top 10.
I knew that one was going to get some hate, and I get it. I get the hate. It's cheesy. It is. It's
not cheesy. It's just bad.
You can watch.
Okay.
Cody said it. You can watch the other Beauty and the Beast. You don't get Luke Evans being like the middle schooler who thought that he could do Gaston, one of the greatest films of all time. Like, look at me, I'm Gaston. Gaston here, everybody. Luke Evans. Woo! And
I've never realized how short Boatman was until he did that.
No, yeah, he's 4 feet. He's 4 feet nothing. But yeah, Koho, dude. The one film that was nominated for Best Picture at the Oscars, the first animated film to ever be nominated.
Yeah.
You think the live action remake is better than that?
No.
Or out of your mind.
No, I don't.
No, but it still made your list.
Yeah, because the live action remake is still great.
Okay, this isn't movie fights. I just wanted you guys to turn on each other, and it worked.
Yeah, I'm done.
A few other people have hopped in the chat. Paulo Yama is here now. He says High School Musical 3 senior year.
Yeah, baby.
On there.
Yeah, baby.
He also says that Ryan thinking a movie that he doesn't like doesn't exist is a little cringe, saying that they don't play.
Right.
Paul again just sharing his opinion like he does. I can't wait to get him on one of these episodes.
Yeah.
Okay, so the next one we're going to go one at a time. So please, Koho, number 3, give us why it made your list.
Number 3 is a movie that goes back and forth with my number 1 every now and then, but right now it's pretty set right now as this. It's Pirates of the Caribbean: Dead Man's Chest. It is the film that most of the things you think about pirates are in that film, like the Kraken, Davy Jones, a lot of great things like the cannibals and all the dialogue. The score by Hans Zimmer is not introduced until this movie. So in a lot of ways, this is a pretty perfect adventure movie. It's a part 1 to a 2-part story, but this part 1 is really, 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 really good and fun on its own. So yeah.
Well, I'm not going to rip you because I'm actually on record just saying that I like the second Pirates of the Caribbean. It's probably not in my top 3. It's probably bottom 10. Like it's in the 10, 9, 8. But like, yeah, that's a little rough. I think the other 2 will have the exact same opinion. I'm guessing you guys didn't have this one on there. Is that correct?
No.
No.
If I put it on my list, throw me off a cliff.
Okay,
yeah,
so they don't like it.
Not that bad.
Oh,
It
by
is
the
terrible.
way, Paul actually has another dig that I really enjoyed on here. He said, where's it at? It was perfect. So it keeps, how does the 3 go back and forth to number 1? Laugh out loud. What?
Fair. That's fair. It's really my top 3.
It bypass the 1 and just keep ending up in the 3 spot. But you don't know how math works, and we all know that. Ryan, tell us what your number 3 is.
Okay, number 3, this film that's gonna, I guess, in a way, winning the bronze medal. It's gonna be another film I grew up on as a kid. I rewatch it every time it's on. It's enjoyable. It's fun. It's got a great cast, especially Kiefer Sutherland, and that would be The Three Musketeers. The Three Musketeers from Disney, the adaptation they did back, I believe it was 1993. Fantastic cast, fantastic adventure, some quotable dialogue, especially from Oliver Platt. My goodness gracious, Oliver Platt, you are a national treasure in your own right, no pun intended. So, fun movie, swashbuckling. Could have gone a little bit more violent with it and shown actual blood and not just swords that stab people with nothing on them. Yes, but then again, it's Disney. They can't show a whole lot of violence. They have to Disneyfy it. I get it. But you still get an enjoyable film, a fun adventure, some quotable dialogue. And, okay, I know this is going to sound weird, but I like the theme song to this movie, All for Love by Rod Stewart, Bryan Adams, and I believe it's Sting. So, sue me. I like it. I enjoy it. True love, it's out there. It exists. Let's hope for it. And other than that, Three Musketeers, I like this adaptation more so than some of the other adaptations of the Three Musketeers there have been, in the other years that those films have come out. So Three Musketeers at number 3, All for One and One for All.
Don't hate the choice. Probably a little underrated in most circles. I grew up on it too, so I can't fault you on it. I don't think it maybe is top 10 in my book, but it's an enjoyable film. Paul told me to ask Boatman what you think about Oliver Platt.
He is the worst part of a movie that has actual wrestlers acting in it. How is he the worst part? How? Booker T. Booker T is out acting Oliver Platt in Ready to Rumble. That shouldn't be humanly possible. How? Okay, I'm done.
Okay. That was really fun and worth everything. Thank you, Paul. I appreciate you. The next one goes to Boatman. Tell us what it is.
My number 3 is one that I don't think gets enough credit for being a really great movie with really great performances. Saving Mr. Banks.
Nothing else? No one else has it?
Nope.
Ooh, okay. Okay. Boatman, explain why.
Yeah, I think this is a really well-acted, true story. You know, it's Disney making a movie about the making of a Disney movie. I get that it's not like 100% like accurate to the story and everything, and I get that. I don't care. Like, it's still a really good movie aside from that. So, like, I can kind of forgive that. I think Tom Hanks as Walt Disney is perfect, and he doesn't go, like, too over the top happy with it. He's still, like, not, like, super nice. You get kind of this more well-rounded approach of Walt Disney, which is pretty good. And Emma Thompson as P.L. Travers, amazing. Absolutely amazing. She's giving one of her best performances in this movie. She's fantastic. And everyone else, Paul Giamatti, BJ Novak, Bradley Whitford, Jason Schwartzman, they're all giving great performances. And it's just a really great story about kind of the conflict of you've created something. Is it better to keep it as pure as it was and the exact way that you had it, or to allow it to be changed in order for it to be enjoyed by more people? And I think that's really interesting kind of dilemma.
Okay, yeah, I don't know. Again, it just came out. I've only watched it twice. I really enjoy it. I think because I'm a Disney fan. I don't hate the choice. But now that we got our 3s out, just a quick 2 sentences, please. Do not run down. But I want to know, each one of you did not have this on your list. So why did these 2 movies miss your guys' list? Just a quick blurb from whoever wants to go first.
I'll go ahead and say Ryan, Three Musketeers, great pick. I wouldn't put it in my top 10, but I think it's the best version of the Musketeers we've seen in live action. Absolutely love it. And I am saying Mr. Banks, so it's not on my list.
Okay. Ryan?
Yeah, saving Mr. Banks. I saw it. It was informative. It was a heck of a story. I think to a certain extent it was enjoyable. It was also kind of sad in a way. It's not the most uplifting movie, at least in my eyes. Granted, I've only seen it once, maybe twice. But it's just not top 10 quality. I mean, yes, there's some moments of happiness or quick smiles, but it's a really deep, personal story, and it's not the most uplifting either. It's kind of sad, kind of depressing, and I don't think it would crack. It definitely didn't crack my top 10, and for good reason. And it's just not my cup of tea for a top 10 list of at least of this subject matter. But hey, good on you, man. If it's your pick, it's your pick. So have at it.
Boatman, real quick.
Yeah, I haven't seen Three Musketeers, so I can't really comment on that. I just, it came out before I was born, so like...
I don't care. You need to watch it.
Okay. Well, I've got a lot of things I need to watch. Look,
put it on your to-do list.
Dead Man's Chest is actually not that bad, but I can't tell... The thing is, I don't know, I can't remember what happened in the Dead Man's Chest and World's End. So those movies run together so much for me that I kind of just lump them together as both being pretty bad. Why does things got to be overcomplicated? Why can't Jack Sparrow just go find treasure or something? Like, just make it simple. It's not the Matrix.
Okay, fair enough. Number 2, guys. Starting with Caleb. Tell us what it is.
All right, so my number 2, Boatman, we're bringing it back. Number 2, Sky High, baby. Sky High. freaking high. It is a brilliant coming of age mixed with superheroes with a bunch of original characters that are actually really fun to watch. Like, Superhero High School sounds dumb and cheesy. Is it at times? Yes. But it works in so many ways. I love that sidekicks have a class called Hero Support. I love it. I love Save the Citizen. I love Kurt Russell's The Commander. I love Kerry Russell's Jetstream. I love Sonic Boom, Bruce Campbell. It's so great. It's so great. I love the entire story and the characters in the world, and I go back to it frequently.
Okay. Caleb.
Yeah, everything Koho just said, it's really fun. I'll admit it gets a little bit cheesy, but it's kind of supposed to be, so I forgive it for being a little cheesy. Kurt Russell is absolutely perfect in this. He might be giving my favorite performance of it. Not his best, but maybe my favorite performance of his. And yeah, the cast is phenomenal. There are a lot of really funny lines and commentaries on the whole superhero thing. I love when the nurse is talking to Will Stronghold about the powers, and it's like, some kids will throw themselves into a vat of toxic waste and their powers surface in about 24 hours, or they die. I think that's
I love it.
Ron Wilson, bus driver. That's a lot of fun. Like, this is a really funny, fun movie. Kevin McDonald, the guy who voiced Pleakley in Lilo and Stitch, doesn't get enough credit for being hilarious in this movie. It's just really, it's like the first time Disney kind of captured the spirit of The Simpsons. It's great.
Okay. Yeah, I'll just touch on it. Not a big fan of the movie. It might have been the age. I might have thought it was a Disney original movie when it came out. I don't even know. It flew under the radar. I watched it recently once I got into this community because of certain people. It's fine. You said Kurt Russell, and I know Matt Kearns is in the chat, so I hate Kurt Russell, and he knows this. So he can just deal with that, and that will just send him into trigger mode for a while, and it's a call he can't eject me from, so that's even better. So yeah, Sky High. I mean, for the age group, I can't knock this one. For especially you two, this is right up your alley. The same reason Robert Parker loves it, the same reason Tim Burkalla loves it, the same reason Paul Oyama loves it. It has that niche. It's kind of like, I think, the Mighty Ducks for me, which hasn't made a list yet, which is I'm upset with everybody for right now.
Ryan has it at very high.
Okay, so we're gonna go next. Yeah, go ahead and Boatman and Ryan, say your number two, because it's quite similar, and then we will just move on.
Oh, we have the same number two.
Yep.
Pirates of the Caribbean: Curse of the Black Pearl.
Yes, we do. That is
true.
It
higher on anybody's list?
Well, shocking surprise.
Okay, so we'll wait for that. So what we're going to do now is we are going to move to Ryan's number one and Caleb Boatman's number one, and then we'll end the show on Black Pearl, since you all had that on your list. It's honestly the only movie that you all unanimously had on your list. So we'll save the show for that. So Ryan, please explain to us what your number one Disney live action movie of all time is.
Whew. All right, gold medalist numero uno. Okay, this is going to make maybe someone who's watching this live right now, maybe not, or if they're not, they'll watch it later. Number one is the one, the only, the Perkis system works for everybody, and it's called Heavyweights. That's right, Heavyweights. Ben Stiller, Tony Perkis Jr., son of Tony Perkis Sr., the lighting fixture king. I success for Milk, one of the most quotable movies of all time, one of the funniest movies of all time, and certainly has a good soundtrack in its own right, especially during the dance event that they have on the camp. You know what I'm talking about if you've seen this movie. And I Am Laws. It's just so good, so funny, so hilarious. You could put this movie on any time of day, any time of year. It doesn't matter whether it's summer, fall, spring, winter. It doesn't matter. Heavyweights is my number one. And Big Papa Jeff, if you're watching this, we did it, buddy. We did it. We made this film it got this film on the list. It's on the show. It's in stone. It is permanent. Heavyweights is there. What say you?
Okay. I'm just going to ask real quickly. Kaleb Koho and Caleb Boatman, have you ever heard of the movie
I've seen this movie.
Okay. So thoughts on it?
okay, I get why people like it because it's the sky high type thing where it's like you grew up with it. So like I can't blame you for that. I couldn't get into it. I think Ben Stiller's kind of doing the White Goodman thing. So maybe had I not seen Dodgeball first and had I seen Heavyweights first, that maybe would have worked. But it's very similar, and I think it's just he's a little too over the top, like more, and I just don't. It doesn't really work for me. But I do think he has some good parts. So I'm not saying it's a bad movie. I think it's nah.
Koho.
What the fuck is Heavyweight?
Okay, I'll touch on it too. I actually really enjoy Heavyweights. I think Heavyweights is really underrated, especially, and it's definitely through the goggles of 90s kids that grew up with it. It is not a masterpiece. What should it be number one, Ryan? I'm no. Remember the Titans? She should rank higher than Heavyweights. Ben Stiller is super over the top, but again, I've seen this before he becomes part of Dodgeball.
White Goodman, yeah.
Especially when he throws the pitchers on the ground and starts walking over them, and he just like it motivates kids. It's
Gardner
insane.
Gerald.
It's so stupid. It's ridiculous. I understand why. I don't expect anybody that's this group to appreciate it if you didn't grow up with it. You can never pop it in. It's kind of like Space Jam now. I don't think kids can pop in Space Jam and watch it and be like, I love Space Jam. Space Jam's pretty bad if you watch it without 90s goggles on. That's my personal opinion. I rewatched it. I shouldn't have. I should have stayed in the time capsule. But that might be on a later episode. So here is, but we're going to go to Boatman next. Your number one. Tell us what your number one is.
My number one. I stepped in time to. That was a lame pun. I'm just gonna.
Ooh.
It's Mary Poppins. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. It's Mary Poppins. Okay. Mary Poppins, kind of a masterpiece. This movie's really great. It makes me like just jump with glee. That's a weird word, but like I love it. I just have a smile on my face just talking about it because I love this movie so much. All the sequences are great. I love going to see Uncle Albert, played by the great Ed Wynn. Julie Andrews won an Oscar deservedly. The songs are great, but there's also like an underlying like kind of sadness to it where it's like there will be these happy moments and then there will be these like really quiet moments that really work. One of the most beautiful moments in film is just the scene where Louis Tomlinson, Mr. Banks, is just walking to the bank knowing he's about to get fired. It's a beautiful, beautiful sequence and it really works. And I think watching it like with like Saving Mr. Banks, like doing those as a double feature is a really good idea because those movies both really work together. This movie's just amazing. I get the criticism like Dick Van Dyke is doing a really bad accent, but like it is bad, but it's kind of supposed to be like, it's not supposed to be super accurate. Like I can forgive that. And I think,
Okay.
Yeah.
I'll touch on it. So Ryan, Caleb, congratulations. You've just entered a new wing of Your List Sucks, and it's called the Hall of Fame. You guys are douches. Basically, you had no Mary Poppins on this list at all. I would settle at it maybe at the 8th spot. Maybe 10 if it didn't resonate with you. If your only criticism is Dick Van Dyke because he does it, the movie is made from Disney's in the 60s, you can't expect a lot. The songs are amazing. I will still stand by Let's Go Fly a Kite as one of the most underrated songs in Disney history. It is one of my favorite songs. It's just uplifting. It's fun. There's somebody on this panel. I know it already. He thinks that Mary Poppins Returns is better than the original Poppins, and that's not saying much, and that's an insult and a travesty. Thank you, Caleb Boatman, my tag team partner, Cain McMillan. I can never convince that you are a heel anymore because he was hoping all night for this to happen, and you finally did it. So you won somebody to your side, and I'm upset. Just real quick blurb. Koho, Ryan, why did Mary Poppins not even crack your top 10 list?
Because I've never seen the gosh darn movie.
Oh, stop. Pause.
I've never seen it. I didn't grow
Pause.
up with this
I
movie
know.
like every single person did. I didn't.
I'm about to throw my iPad across the room.
Oh,
You
like
just-
Henry? Okay, just throw it across.
Listen, you just got on to Boatman for not seeing The Three Musketeers.
That's right, because it's a great film.
Man.
I've never seen Mary Poppins.
Koho, I hate you already, but at least you've seen it. And Cain says eject him. Matt Kern says that is what? He's confused. So please, Koho, tell me why Mary Poppins is a piece of crap in your eyes.
It's not a piece of crap. I will say that right now. It's not a piece of crap. It's just, it's not my cup of tea. I don't find the movie super. I don't find Return super enjoyable. I don't find the character of Mary Poppins interesting, and the story feels kind of bland. Not bland, just boring. It feels like a dull movie. And I get some people find it whimsical, some people find it magical. Both movies have great music. Let's Go Fly a Kite is great. It is. I think the music in the second one's also really good. But like honestly, like it's just not my thing. I get it. It's probably the greatest movie ever. It's just I don't like Mary Poppins that much.
All right.
I don't go back to it a lot.
So let's talk about your number one. Chance just joined in, and he says he thinks Ryan needs to be all of these. I kind of agree with you because. So yeah, that's
wow.
that's just because of your hot takes.
Oh, okay.
I'm still trying to calm down because
I'll take it.
But please tell me Black Pearl. You guys, Koho, I'm going to let you start because it's your one, but tell us the other two why it ranks so high for you.
Pirates of the Caribbean: The Curse of the Black Pearl is my fourth favorite movie of all time. It is a perfect adventure movie in my eyes.
Mm-hmm.
There's nothing wrong with this movie. I think Johnny Depp as Jack Sparrow in this film is a pitch perfect performance. It got nominated for a reason. I think it should have won. I think Barbossa is menacing as all hell in this movie. I know in future movies he's less menacing, becomes more of a friend, and I kind of like that turn. But in this one, he's scary. You best start believing in ghost stories, Miss Turner. You're in one.
Yes.
I love the dialogue. My favorite screenwriters of all time, and I'm the only person in the world who thinks like screenwriting is awesome, are Ted Elliott and Terry Rossio. They have a very impressive filmography. 1992's Aladdin, The Road to El Dorado, National Treasure. But this movie it's a testament to what they can do with an adventure story. They're the best at writing adventure. I think the story, it is a straight up, we're going for treasure, and we're going to save the people who were kidnapped by the pirates going for treasure. But there's also there's a lot of mythology that's lying under the surface, and the sequels explore that. That's why I like the sequels. But I don't think there's anything wrong with this movie. It is a breath of fresh air and an incredibly fun film.
I'm going to go to Ryan next. Ryan, why does Black Pearl rank so high for you?
This is going to shock a few people, but Koho and I are actually in agreement for one of the few times in our lives. This is a great adventure movie. It is pretty much perfect. Like there's no flaws really in this movie. It's just enjoyable from beginning to end. You're hooked from the very beginning until the very end. The score, oh my gosh, the Pirates theme alone is so good. The shots are great. The colors are great. The way you just feel like you're in that time period and you're in this adventure with these characters. You understand the mythology. You're in it to win it from beginning to end. It's just great. It's a great adventure. A theme park ride. Yes, I've been on this theme park ride, folks. Could actually make for a great film, and it did. And Gore Verbinski directed it very well. Jerry Bruckheimer produces the way he produces, which is also really good in this one. So, yeah, Pirates is great. It's fabulous. I just bought it on I had it on DVD for the longest time, and then I upgraded it to Blu-ray recently because it's just that darn good. So, Koho, for one of the few times in this century we're actually going to agree on something, my hat's off to you, good sir.
And just real quick, Koho, I think other people think screenwriting is important as well. That's foot in mouth. Pretty much was what happened. It was funny. You screwed up again. Boatman, tell us why so we can wrap up this train wreck of a show already.
I mean, I don't blame Koho for having it as high as he did or for being his fourth favorite movie ever. It's one of the best action adventure movies ever made. Like, it's an amazing film. Depp is fantastic. He deserved his Oscar nomination. Everyone, like, what I love about this movie is it kind of was so perfect on accident like it wasn't really supposed to be. It was more kind of supposed to be generic, and then Gore Verbinski was kind of like, let's make this a little bit weirder. Let's make this a little bit like, and then Depp was like, I want to do a Keith Richards impression as my pirate. And people should have told him, no, that doesn't make sense. But he did it anyway, and it worked. Like, that's the thing, is logically they would have, or I didn't say they should have, let me rephrase that. I messed up my wording. They told him no, and but he did it anyway, and it worked, is what I meant to say. Excuse me. And yeah, Orlando Bloom and Keira Knightley, I don't love their characters in the sequels. I think they're good here. But yeah, overall, great movie.
Yeah, I will touch on it. I think Black Pearl is an amazing movie. I have no problems with it ranking as high as it. It's for people that have Back to the Future or something like that grew up on it. This is your grow up movie, and you cling to it and you enjoy it. And I honestly believe it's. Paul said it right. It's probably one of the best action adventure movies of blockbusters of the 21st century. It's either that or it's in really close contention. So that's what I really enjoy. So what we're going to do now is we're going to reveal the personal top 10 list of you guys that you have created. Gosh, was this annoying and disgusting and hard to do, but here it is. At number 10, Enchanted. Number 9, The Three Musketeers. Number 8, Saving Mr. Banks, which Paul Oyama says is an abomination. He literally used the word abomination.
How dare you?
Number 7 is Tron Legacy.
Yeah.
Number 6 is Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe. I already screwed up. 5 is Heavyweights.
Top 5, Jeff. Top 5.
4 is Mary Poppins. Again, pretty much a tie. I had people break it. Number 3 is Remember the Titans. Number 2 is Sky High.
Let's go, baby!
Oh, jeez.
I'm okay with this.
And number 1 is Pirates of the Caribbean, The Curse of the Black Pearl.
Other than Sky High, this is a pretty good list.
Just real quick, just before we wrap it up, from the list I just told you, 1 per person should not make that list. Just real quick, whoever wants to say it.
Sky High for me, because I enjoyed the film when it first came out. It gave us one of the best working actresses today, and that would be Danielle Panabaker. We love you. You're fantastic. But other than that, it's enjoyable, but it's nowhere near top 10 material. So that's why I think Sky High should not have made this list, period. And Mary Poppins, only reason I say it is because I haven't seen it. But other than that, it's a good list.
Okay. Anybody else?
I'll go ahead and say, I'm actually okay with, this entire list with the exception of Heavyweights. What the fuck is that movie? I don't know what it is.
I
literally don't know what it is. I'm okay with literally other non-movies on this list being here.
My one is, and honestly, there's nothing that I'm I'm so angry about. But Heavyweights, yeah, but also Tron Legacy. It's just every dystopian movie ever. I'm sorry, it's generic.
Okay. So, again, Ryan, Caleb, and Caleb, I appreciate you guys being on the show. I'm going to actually announce the people in the chat if you guys are interested in being the next 4. Next week is Monsters movies. The next one is Marvel. And then I've just got my next 4. So if you're interested, please message me on Facebook. I will gladly. It's not first come, first serve. I will also make a post on it. Please say that. Just because you've been on an episode doesn't mean you can't make another episode. But the weeks that I'm looking to fill are first one is going to be most unnecessary remake, reboot, or sequel. So ones that did not live up to the hype or just were bad all around. So it's going to be our first negative list that we talk about. I think that's going to be a lot of fun. The next week after that is going to be horror movies. We're going to talk about basically horror sequels. Horror reboots kind of with Child's Play coming out. I want to focus in on that area. So if you're interested, please message me on that one. The following week is going to be music-based movies. So movies that have music as the main theme, it doesn't have a music biopics. It's one of those. I think it's going to be a lot of fun, a lot of interesting choices that you can come up with. And the final one is interesting with Spider-Man Homecoming. I'm not going to do an MCU list because I think that has been done to death, but I'm going to say best acting performances from the Avengers cast. So basically, Robert Downey Jr. in a movie, and then you rank it up the list between the 10 different characters. One character per place. You can't put multiple. So it's going to be a lot of interesting lists coming up. If you have any suggestions on the show, just please message me. If you want to be on the show, just let me know. But again, thank you, Caleb, Brian, and Koho for being on the show. I appreciate you guys, and see you next time.